I'm walking into second day of tech, which is actually a run and then a preview. So last night we got through everything that we needed to. Like, there are a few bumps along the way. For me, the most difficult thing was just getting started. Like, when you form language with the people that you're working with on comms, it takes a little bit of time, and it was just annoying that I should have gone to everybody and just done the check-in, but because it was Tech City number 2, we all sort of thought it was going to work, but we just needed to have like a 30-second conversation of, okay, what do you need? When I'm calling you up, what do you actually need? Do you need me checking with you or not? And there was just a little bit of fumbling in the first session, which was very frustrating from my end because I felt very responsible. But, you know, it got ironed out towards the end, as it always does, because you learn what people need and how they speak, and also what they sound like on comms. Like, I couldn't distinguish someone's voice, and I just felt so stupid about it. It's like, is that Alex or is that Hugh? I don't know. Anyway, it's a tiny little problem, and today is a really beautiful sunny day, and this is Rosalie's first morning, so I hope that Edwin's little baby and Isabel's little baby is learning to, I don't know, eat and breathe and do the baby things, all those things that babies do. Yeah. First audience in tonight, which is a beautiful old building. Second session of tech is done, and I have a splitting headache, so I'm going for a walk to try and remind myself that there is a life outside the theatre, and I've had some ibuprofen to try and address that. We finished tech number 2, which was actually a dress, and then a series of notes, and I'm going for a walk before we do our first preview this evening with a live audience. I've got a bit of a headache, and it was it's funny because everything went really, really well, of course, but there are just little things that, because I didn't do the tech the first time around, just like calling things that are not correct, and yet I know I am calling them as what's in the book, and that's really frustrating because it just sort of means that, like, there's a certain paranoia. Now you're going to go back to the original call that you were taught and just make sure that what's in the book matches what's actually happening, or am I doing it wrong, or is the effect wrong, or I just don't know what's going on. But also no one picked it up for a really, really long time, which means that, like, they just weren't paying attention well enough, in my opinion, because I don't like being wrong. I don't mind being wrong if I am wrong, but I don't like being unknowingly wrong and having made mistakes for an audience, you know, that's not okay. Anyway, I just need to, like, we're not sure what's wrong still, we don't know why, so I'm going to go through and just try and make sure that what's happening is actually real. Hardest thing in the show is to keep your head up, because your head is in the book so intensely and you're calling every 3 seconds. So anyway, not going to beat myself up too much. I'm now going to walk down to Kmart. Well, I did go to Kmart and I bought a fake plant to put on my desk to cheer me up. I bought origami because that sounds like fun. I've never done that before, and they were very beautiful. It was a cute little whiteboard which had like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'm going to use that to help me remember what I'm doing every day, because we're not always on stage left or stage right, or like it all changes and I can never remember. And I also got like a milkshake on the go thing, like a tumbler. I really want to get a NutriBullet, and I like the idea of having a larger drink that's insulated, so I'm going to try that and see if I like it. It's not very expensive. If I don't like it, I shall donate it to Vinnie's. I just went past Hamilton. It's so lovely having another show just across the way. I can't imagine how wonderful it would be to be in Broadway or off Broadway or the West End or any of those theatre districts. Like, they're kind of claiming there's a theatre district here, 2 theatres opposite each other. I haven't seen any others, but it's really lovely. It feels like there's a home for the arts in this city in a way that Sydney doesn't, and also it's just packed with people. Like, people on the streets have turned up early to go see the show, and they're going to go out to dinner and all these things that you just don't really see in Sydney, because the theatres are removed from the heart of the city. And I think it's a real shame because it changes the whole flavour of the relationship that a city has to its theatres. If you put them out like on the water, on the edges, on the fringes, it's not really part of everybody's lives. And you can advertise all you want, but if you're at the Lyric Theatre, I mean, people are going to see that at the Gamblers and they're not going to go see a show. They've got a different thing that they like to do. So it's really lovely in its own little way. Not gonna lie, for me that was a horrendous show. I just had a splitting headache the whole time. I still have a splitting headache, and it came from an unergonomic chair that like I had put up with for a day and a half, but then it just got to the point where it was just like migraine up either one of my eyes, and it really, really distracted me from doing a good job. And that's so infuriating because this afternoon was so much tighter and this evening was just sloppy and late and wrong, and hated it. So I'm just gonna go to sleep and let that one go, because every so often you get a terrible show, and that I hope was my one and only terrible show. I say terrible, things were like half a second out, but that's the difference between something being really tight and great and feeling sloppy and saggy. But there are a lot of weird things that happened tonight, like the air conditioner was really hot and so everybody was feeling terrible. I also think fatigue plays into it, where, you know, you take us all out of the running for 3 weeks. It's already like a very new show for some of us. And, you know, 3 weeks off is enough for you to sort of lose the finesse and the confidence that you had. Anyway, I've lost confidence. I just know that I need to not get a headache again. I need to sleep well and pay attention and just get it right. And there's no other way to do it. I know how to do it, I know how to read. It's just I spent all day like doing this, and now the back of my head is in pain. So, you know, it's actually important making sure that things work right. And just little things like I had a completely different chair in this tech. And so the things that, you know, I'm a short person, I have to raise myself quite high up in order to see the screen, because the screen is built for a very tall person. And yet, you know, I'm now dangling with my feet just like in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, just hated the show. Was not bad though, the audience absolutely loved it, they laughed at everything and everybody was wonderful, but I hated my part of the show. Time for bed. Cup of tea in bed. So this is what I did to cheer myself up. Beautiful fairy lights, making it nicer.